I'm often asked to show my NASCAR Diecast collection, which makes sense. Some of my earliest YouTube videos were created using 1/64 scale diecast cars. I wouldn't consider myself an avid diecast collector. Don't ask me the difference between molds, for example, but I would say I'm an enthusiast at the very least. I've collected quite a few 1/24 scale diecasts over the years. It's the off season. I figured today I would show you all some of my personal favorites. Beginning with a few obvious ones. I grew up a huge Matt Kenseth fan. My dad got me this 2003 Matt Kenseth DeWalt Ford diecast for my birthday a few years ago. It's signed by both Matt Kenseth, the driver, and Jack Roush, the car owner. It even has the Winston Cup Series Championship decal on the rear deck lid. This car is heavy duty, team caliber. Great looking paint scheme, nostalgic, means something to me. Dual signatures, pretty cool as well. This is definitely one of my personal favorite diecasts I have in my collection. Moving on, I was very excited a couple years ago to add Matt Kenseth's 2012 Talladega win, the pink Ford EcoBoost Fusion. Getting to add this to my collection, this was an exciting find. I found this outside of Nashville Superspeedway, I believe, at one of the third-party diecast vendors. Funny story about those Nashville Superspeedway diecast vendors. A couple of years ago, I was there with Jarrett, the Iceberg, and Slap Shoes, a couple of other NASCAR YouTube content creators you may recognize, and this one vendor was having a 10 diecast for $100 sale. This car was not part of that sale. I wish I paid full price for this one. Well deserved. But 10 for 100. We were in diecast heaven. Long story short, we left with my trunk full of like 30 plus 1/24 scale diecast. It was kind of ridiculous, but a fond memory I have. This car, I was super excited to get it, was looking for it for years. It's not signed or anything, but it is one I would love to get signed at some point. Matt Kenseth, 2012 Talladega. And one more Kenseth car, 2017 Phoenix race win, Circle K colors. This turned out to be Matt Kenseth's final NASCAR Cup Series win. It's actually the only diecast I have in my entire collection that I got signed in person. I don't know if you can see that because unfortunately he did sign the windshield with blue ink. I got this signed at a Slinger Speedway in Wisconsin in 2019. And honestly, we all should have been better prepared. They should have had more than just a blue Sharpie. I should have been more prepared. It was just a complete and total breakdown. Still, this is arguably my favorite diecast in my collection. Let's move on. Weirdly enough, I have a few 2022 diecasts that I really like. Maybe it was the first year of the next gen I was really excited, but I have a Ross Chastain Martinsville Raced Edition, the Hail Melon. Oh, and it's signed. I got this one off pristineauction.com a couple years back. What a special moment in modern NASCAR history. Went viral. I had friends of mine who aren't race fans sending me the clip. 2022 was a huge year for Team Trackhouse, especially for Ross Chastain. So it's fun to have this piece of history preserved in diecast form. Great decal work to get the door wall damage designed extremely accurately. Yeah, this is a fun one. Glad to have this one in my collection. I have Matt Kenseth's final career win. I also have his former teammate Kurt Busch's final career win. Kansas 2022, also signed. This was also the first win for the Jordan brand as a primary scheme. Again, I love the detail on this car. They were able to fully capture how sandblasted the nose was that night. Paint scheme looks great as well. Sneaker inspired pattern, that elephant print on the doors and part of the nose. Awesome race. Bittersweet now in some ways looking back, knowing this was Kurt Busch's final Cup Series win, at least in all likelihood. And one more car from 2022 has no sentimental significance, but I guess I just love Dr. Pepper. I mean, shoot, I'm wearing like a Dr. Pepper colored t-shirt today. Didn't even mean to. This is just a good looking scheme, and it's signed by Bubba Wallace. That's a nice touch. Just fun to see Dr. Pepper back in the sport on the number 23 car, 23 secret flavors, that whole branding. Just a good looking scheme. Always have it on my shelf. These next few are a little self-indulgent, so you'll have to excuse me. We'll start with this one. There have been some awesome rock band NASCAR cross crossovers, but this one by far is my favorite. I am a huge fan of the band Ghost. A guy I work with, Craig, I got him into Ghost as well, to the point where he reached out to their record label a couple years back asking, hey, would you want to do something in NASCAR? And to both of our surprise, they immediately came back and said yes. So we got Ghost onto a NASCAR stock car. This ran in 2022 at Phoenix Raceway. Bailey Curry driving. He was such a good sport about it. He even dressed up in the Papa Emeritus face makeup. What a fun project to be a part of. I even worked on a short skit with characters from the Ghost universe. So technically, I'm part of the Ghost band canon. Oh, that's insane. It's also cool to have the Out of the Groove logo, sneak onto the door there. My face is tiny on the C post. I believe only 500 and change of these were actually produced, and they were marketed directly to Ghost fans, and those fans are rabid, so they sold out very quickly. I'm honored to have been a part of this project, and it's awesome to still have this car on my shelf to remember the moment. I have to be very careful with this next one. This car is special for two reasons. One, obviously it has my face on it. Just kidding, that actually devalues it immensely. But two, most importantly, this is actually the Lionel prototype they sent me for final approval. So one of one. I was extremely fortunate 2 years ago to get Out of the Groove on a real NASCAR Xfinity Series car. When I was helping with the final paint scheme design, I wanted to create something that was reminiscent of Matt Kenseth's 2005-2006 primary scheme. I wanted to make the door number black, but with the white Out of the Groove logo, the white space for Mac door systems, we decided the white number 6 looked a little better. I still think it does even in hindsight, but it was really cool to make this happen. You can even see on the rear deck lid the names of every person that pre-ordered the diecast. This would not have been possible without the support of so many of you. It's still crazy to think this happened only 2 years ago. I guess it's been a little more than 2 years ago now. It feels like yesterday. This is one of my favorites, one of my personal favorites in my collection for obvious reasons. And then of course, Out of the Groove made it onto a Cup Series car. This one is not a prototype. This one's just out of the box. But you see a lot of my content creator friends are all over this car. We got logos all over the darn place. This car ran at Darlington 2023. I remember Mike Joy on Fox compared this to the Marty Robbins brightly colored magenta schemes from back in the day. That was really cool. And Clint Boyer during qualifying had a great line that I still think about to this day.
Without downforce, you're going to be out of the groove.
Again, it was surreal seeing this car on an actual NASCAR Cup Series track. Great to have this diecast to remember the experience. Another really fun project that I was honored to be a part of. The newest diecast in my collection, I actually showed you all a few weeks ago, but my friends at Lionel actually sent me this 2024 Brad Keselowski Castrol Edge Premier Elite Ford Mustang Dark Horse diecast. That is a mouthful. I love the edges on the Dark Horse, the front fenders in particular, but this is a Premier Elite. This is the only Premier Elite diecast I have in my collection. It's heavy. Few other diecasts in my collection come close to matching the detail under the hood, the decal work, the chrome number looks great. And because this is a Premier Elite, I believe only 50 of this exact car were produced. In fact, underneath there's a gold plate. Mine is number 5. So a pretty exclusive piece in my collection. Really cool of Lionel, again, to send this to me a few weeks back. Proud to display it. Again, this is the newest, most modern car I have in my collection. Looks good. I was there in 2021 when Kyle Larson wrapped up a historic 10-win Cup Series season by winning the championship at Phoenix Raceway in this car. You can see decal work, the Phoenix blue, yellow, orange confetti decals all over the front of this thing. It is signed by Kyle Larson. You can see the signature, clear, plain as day, yellow playoff windshield banner, yellow rear spoiler, and Larson took that celebration serious, blew out the left rear fender. This was also the final race of the Gen 6 car, so there's a lot of history tied up in this diecast. One of the reasons it's one of my favorites. 10-win season plus the championship. Gosh, in the next gen era, we may not see a season like that ever again, or at least not for many, many more years. Again, historic race car. Fun to have this one in my collection. I've got a couple more. This one's kind of wacky. 2020 Busch Clash at Daytona. Denny Hamlin is a lap down. He decides to push then teammate Eric Jones to the win. Eric Jones, these decals don't do it justice. His front end was destroyed. It would have been awesome if Lionel could have, molded or sculpted the nose and the hood to more accurately represent the damage, but they did their best with the Bear Bond tape sticker decals on the front. This was the most mangled race car I've ever seen go to victory lane, so I like to have the diecast. It's also signed, as you can see, by Eric Jones, so that makes it a little cooler as well. Just a weird race, a weird car. It sticks out on my shelf because of all the damage on the nose, but that's why I like it. It's kind of unique. I'm sure there are some custom diecast artists out there who could really mangle the front of this car to more accurately reflect the real Joe Gibbs Racing number 20, but for the official diecast, the sticker and decal work is pretty accurate. Still makes this a very unique part of my collection. But lastly, and this is another car I've shown you guys recently, the fine folks at Circle B Diecast, Brent, the team over there, sent me this 1970 Richard Penny Plymouth Superbird signed by the king himself. Gosh, does he have the best signature in professional sports or what? University of Racing diecast, a ton of detail. You can look in, see the bucket seat, the comically large steering wheel from back in the day. The Superbird is arguably the most iconic NASCAR stock car of all time. The giant wing on the back. I mean, Disney Pixar used this body, this car, in the Cars trilogy, so young or old, you should recognize this machine. That's how iconic this is. Really, really cool piece. It's heavy as well. I don't think this is my favorite diecast in my collection, though it is up there. It's in the top 3 or 4 for sure. But it is arguably the coolest diecast in my collection, I would say. But again, I'm no expert collector. Don't ask me about rarity or value, anything like that. I just know it looks good on a shelf, and this car looks good on a shelf. It will turn heads, especially with that Richard Petty autograph there front and center. That's it. How many did I show you guys? 12, 13, something like that. Those are my favorite 124 scale diecasts in my collection. I already know what some of y'all are going to ask. What's your all-time favorite? What's number one? The one diecast you could never part ways with? That is a great question. Honestly, it's probably this car right here, Matt Kenseth's 2017 final win. There are just so many good memories tied up in this piece of metal and plastic. Obviously, it was Matt Kenseth's final career win. I grew up rooting for the guy. Didn't expect him to win again. I had accepted that he was probably not going to win in 2017. Then he did. And then I got it signed, blue ink and all, in person at Slinger. He went on that night to win the Slinger Nationals. That was one of the most fun nights I've ever had at a racetrack, period. So again, just a lot of good, positive memories wrapped up in this piece right here, which is why I would probably say it's the favorite of my collection. Shh, just don't tell the other diecasts in my collection. They didn't hear that. They get very jealous. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video. Hope it was interesting, entertaining. I'd be curious to know what your favorite diecast in your personal collection is. Do you have any rare diecast that you're especially proud of? Do you have any favorites of your favorite driver? Do you like to collect race wins exclusively? Let me know down in the comment section below. The off season is winding down. Real race cars will be back on the real track sooner rather than later. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again real soon.